Coal in Australia, a 10-year economic market forecast. Australia is one of the largest producers and exporters of coal globally, producing 510 million tonnes in FY18, resulting in $67 billion in exports. This made coal the most valuable export in FY18, overtaking iron ore for the first time in 9 years. This was short-lived with an experienced sharp decline over the next 2 years. As shown in the 10-year historical graph, the international coal price is vulnerable and susceptible to great highs and lows, making the market highly elastic. So what factors influence these? As Australia exports up to 75% of our coal production, the coal price is determined by the international trade market. Coal exported in Australia is used for two purposes: used in the steelmaking process and for energy generation. Demand for Australian coal is reliant upon the number of coal-fired energy plants in operation across the globe and their efficiency, as well as infrastructure growth that in turn pushes demand for steel and thus the coal for the steelmaking process. In 2019, there are approximately 2 million coal-fired energy plants in operation across the world, with a further 500,000 either under construction or planned. Although some countries are moving away from coal-fired energy due to the environmental impacts and lack of sustainability, countries such as China, India, and Asian nations are increasing their consumption of energy coal as it's seen as a low-cost energy solution. This trend is expected to increase by 1% over the next 5 years and will likely continue stable growth until a low-cost renewable energy source is found. India, China, Japan account for 2/3 of the Australian metallurgical coal export market. The metallurgical coal market has been, since the early 2000s, and will continue to be, determined by the Chinese steel market. We expect to see increases in exports to China and India due to their strong steelmaking industries, with exports to Japan and Europe to decline, with an overall forecast of exports to increase by 1% over the next 5 years and continue this trend. Other non-price determinants of demand include Chinese government policy restrictions, including the introduction of quality-related restrictions to make Australian coal less desirable in comparison with Chinese coal sources, allowable working days in Chinese coal mines reduced from 330 days to 276 days in 2016 that resulted in demand significantly increasing, as well as demand for coal quality characteristics, whereby buyers build pay premium for specified coal qualities. Australia has the 4th largest coal reserve in the world. With more than 100 years of mineable black coal at the current projected production rate, the supply of coal from various coal mines across Australia has several non-price determinants. These include the number of sellers in the market, weather impacts such as fires, floods and cyclones, logistical disruptions reducing ability to rail due to over-congestion on the rail network, rail incidents and accidents, as well as shipping delays including typhoons and cyclonic restrictions at ports. Coal quality specifications required by consumers, the ability to produce in low revenue periods, and industry incidents and investigations. What does this look like for the Australian coal market of the future? In the short term, the coal industry will see periods of high supply and low demand. Considered an essential industry, the mining industry is supporting the Australian economy through the pandemic. However, the overall global downturn will see a period of decreased demand in coal. However, in the medium to long term, India and China are expected to increase demand for Australian coal to support low-cost energy production. Coupled with the continuation of China's infrastructure development plans, such as the Belt Road Initiative, will result in increased demand over the next 10 years. This increase will push the demand curve right. Supply of Australian coal will remain steady over the next 10 years, with supply marginally increasing, pushing the supply curve right. Overall, the market will remain steady over the long term, with short to medium term fluctuations resulting in market risks. The coal production industry is fraught with sustainability issues. As a non-renewable source, the coal industry is under constant pressure and scrutiny to cease mining and invest in more sustainable practices. The reality is that coal is a low-cost resource that many developing nations depend on for the well-being of their citizens until a lower-cost renewable is available. Coal will continue to be exported. However, social value and license is becoming a high risk as the world develops its maturity to climate change and non-renewable resources. There are many opportunities within the coal industry to improve practices, including investment in clean coal initiatives and technologies to reduce the impacts of coal on the environment. The 10-year economic forecast for Australian coal is promising. The industry provides a large economic boost to Australia, as well as positioned well in the international trade market to take advantage of the international shifts in demand.